Yeah, at what step the preprocessor is going to be playing a role during the conversion process? I think it is the very first step during the process of conversion. The source file will be given to the preprocessor. The preprocessor is given to the compiler. Compiler will is given to the assembler. Assembler is given to the linker. Then finally, a loader is coming to the picture for execution purpose. Is it not? This is generally the process now how a source file is going to be converted into an executable file. So coming to the definition here, a preprocessor is a software actually, or it is a program that will process the source program before it is passed to the compiler. Just now I mentioned. The very first step is a preprocessor, and then just a minute. Yeah. So as I mentioned that very beginning step is the preprocessor, and once C program or source program is forwarded through this particular block, which is a program or a software, the output of this particular block is given to the compiler. So there will be some kind of processes taking place in the preprocessor. Now the thing is, the program what all we write in our source file, which line or what is the work done by the preprocessor is basically the discussion here. So can anybody tell what is the line which needs to be processed by the preprocessor? Because you might have studied here and then what exactly preprocessor and all. So
Sir,
yeah, tell me. Which line is going to be processed by the preprocessor in our C programming? Any line which will be preceded by the hash symbol. Can you name one of the one or two examples where hash symbol is used? Where is used hash?
Hash include
Very
stdio.
good. So whenever we use hash in front of any line, that particular line will be processed by the preprocessor. When you say hash include stdio.h, there is a file called stdio.h we call header file. The contents of that header file will be copied into the source. So it is nothing but, even though I have written a simple hello world program, being a programmer who has written this program, they feel it may be one or two lines, because you might be writing hash include stdio.h is one line, then maybe int main, then printf hello world, then followed by a return statement. That's it. So 3 or 4 lines we might write, but once the 4 lines source program is forwarded through the preprocessor, it will simply scan through the each line of the C program. The moment it will find a hash, then it will feel that okay, it is my job to do some extra work. So what is that extra work is? Name itself indicating hash include. You are supposed to perform replacing the stdio.h line using the contents of that particular file. If stdio.h is going to have some 100 lines, all those 100 lines will be copied into our program. Now our program is now extended to how many lines? Can anybody tell? The program which we have written has got 4 lines, in which the first line will be replaced by the contents of the stdio.h, where stdio.h has got 100 lines. Now our source program is extended to how many lines? Respond. It remains 4 lines, or it will be more than 4 lines? Any one of you in the class?
more than 4
Yeah, how many total? Sum of the lines in the header file plus the lines in the source file, is it not? So we call that particular file as expanded file. Output of the preprocessor is called expanded file. So because it is going to expand the number of lines in my program, so generally the output is called preprocessor output. So here you can see second line. The preprocessor works on the source code and creates an expanded source code. Just now I mentioned. The preprocessor offers several features called the preprocessor directives. We have seen only hash includes, but similar to hash include, there are so many other directives are available. Hash include is one of the directive. There are some more directives are there that we are going to see for today's lecture. So each of these preprocessor directives begin with a hash symbol. Like hash include is starting with a hash. we have some more words which are started with a hash symbol. The purpose of every word is different, and most important thing all of you must remember is the preprocessor is going to be performed during the compilation stage, not at the running stage or not during the executable stage. Before exe file is got created, preprocessor is already performed its job. It means it is a compilation time. So preprocessor is always does its job during the compilation time. That you must remember. So each of these preprocessor directives begin with a hash symbol, which already we have seen one of the example, which is hash include. The directives can be placed anywhere in a program, but most often they placed at the beginning of the program before the function definition. So there is no rule always to write hash include at the beginning, but it is a common practice, and it's a better option to write at the beginning so that it will not disturb the logic of the program. So that is what it means. But there is no compulsion that we should write in the beginning of the any program, but generally it is suggestible. So this is a
Sir,
block
can you
diagram
repeat this line, sir?
representation. Sorry,
Can
can
you
you
repeat
repeat?
what you just said?
Yeah, I'm unable to hear you. Can you repeat?
Can you repeat what you just said, sir?
Okay. So what I mean to say is, in all the C programs so far, what we have written, we always have written hash include stdio.h as the beginning of the program. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. But it's not like that. You can also write at the end of the program also, but it has no meaning because all the predefined functions, printf and scanf, we are going to use. It needs function declarations. All the function declarations should come before the usage or after the usage, generally.
Before you, sir.
So that is the reason we generally write hash include at the beginning of the file. Otherwise, you can write later also. There's nothing wrong, provided the function declarations, whatever relevant to the functions we are using, will not be used in the main. So that time you can use anywhere. But if you feel that inside the main you are using certain functions which are part of the for which declarations are given in the header file, then always it is adjustable to keep at the beginning. So which has no ambiguity for including and using the library functions. So that is what the last line says. The directive can be placed anywhere in a program, but most often placed at the beginning of the program before the function definitions. So that is main. So this is a block diagram representation of how a preprocessor is going to be located during the compilation. So source program is given to the preprocessor, and output of the preprocessor is called expanded source code, where number of lines are increased. That will be given to the compiler. So preprocessor directives are executed before the compilation. This is the most important. The red color line, it's a statement. Okay. In the interviews, you might be asked where the preprocessor directives are going to be executed. So you must say that it should be before the compilation or before the compiler. So the various preprocessor directives are, some of them are given here. So which we have not seen so far, which is called macro expansion called hash define. File inclusion is called hash include, only which we have seen so far. Conditional compilation, hash if define, hash end the if condition. Then last one is some miscellaneous directives, hash undefined, hash pragma, and that's it. Okay, these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some more are there, but these are the some of things which we'll discuss for today's class. The only file inclusion we have seen, but we'll start with the first one, which is hash define now. The definition of macro, we generally call the line which is preceded by the hash, we call it as a macro. So a macro is a fragment of the code which has been given a name. Like hash include is a name. Include is a name basically. Whenever the name is used, it is replaced by the contents of the macro. So in the hash include, the content of the header file are going to be replaced. Some replacement is going to happen for every macro name, or every macro I should say. So there are two kinds of macros which are as follows. One will be like object like macro, resembles the data objects. Other one is called function like macros, which resembles the function calls. So the way we see hash include is like an object, but function like macros we have not seen. Maybe we'll see one or two slides afterwards. But there are two possibilities of macro expansions: object like macros and function like macros. Coming to the object like macros, The object like macro is an identifier that will be replaced by a value. So I'll give an example. The syntax is given in the last one. Hash define the identifier and what is the replacement text you want it to be put into the program. So it is called basically object like because the replacement text, whatever you wanted to keep in the program, everywhere you can simply write identifier. I'll give you an example. When you create an account in the bank, don't you think the moment a bank people has created your account, there will be so many functions or conditions are given for every bank account. I'll give you some of them. You need to maintain minimum balance. Yes or no? Just say yes or no, because I'm just having some
Yes, sir.
questions. Then when you go to the ATM machine, there is a per day withdrawal limit is fixed,
Yes, sir.
and the per time transaction limit is fixed. Yes or no? Respond.
Yes, sir.
So the moment a bank people is bank software, I should say, the banking software which might have been written in some programming languages, assuming C programming only. So it is going to create around 2000 lines of the code. Out of the 2000 lines, there are 100 places where the minimum balance is always compared, because you do so many transactions. It could be an online transaction, it could be ATM withdrawal, it could be check withdrawal. So many are there. Every type of withdrawal, don't you think the minimum balance needs to be compared all the time? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
The withdrawal from the bank, you have multiple options, either online transfer or ATM or check or some other means. But whatever might be the mode of no transaction, always the software internally is going to compare the minimum balance. Suppose today you have opened an account, the minimum balance they say that 1000 rupees. Okay, so don't you think in all the 100 places out of the 2000 lines of the program, the 1000 is written or not? Respond.
Sir.
1000 is written or not? Say yes or no. It's a very simple question I'm asking. During the program execution, there are 100 places the minimum balance needs to be reflected in the program. Now, after a few days or maybe some 1 year or 2 years, the minimum balance is raised to the 2000. Then what a programmer should do now? Respond. I'm not asking about a usage point of view. I'm asking about development point of view. The programmer, whoever written the program for the first time or software which is created with first time, out of the 2000 lines, at 100 lines, there was 1000 rupees is written. After 1 year, the 1000 rupees must be replaced by how much amount?
2000.
2000. So don't you think that I need to go to every line wherever 1000 is written, rewritten with the 2000, or one must be replaced by 2? Yes or no? Respond.
Yes, sir.
Now I'm giving an option. Instead of writing 1000 there, I'm giving some symbolic name, maybe min underscore balance. Okay, I'm just giving some symbolic name. Instead of writing 1000 or 2000, simply every at 100 lines, I don't write 1000. Instead, I write minimum balance. So whether it will be now or later or some other time, if you wanted to change the balance, only in the beginning of the program, modify minimum balance to 2000. Which one is better? Going to 100 lines modifying is better, or going to first line change minimum balance is equal to 1000 to 2000? Which is better one?
Second one.
First one, second case. Which case is better? Modification of one line is better, or modification of 100 lines is better?
Modification of
One line is better, isn't it? Because if I modify at the beginning one line where minimum balance is equal to, instead of 1000, I will just update 2000. So don't you think all the 100 places minimum balance will act like a 2000? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So that is an advantage of hash define. Whenever you are trying to define some constant in the program where 1000 is a constant, so always it is preferable, don't use the number. Instead, for every number, there is some symbolic constant, generally we call. we use capital letters, but small letters also you can use. But not to have the confusion between the regular, your text as well as this hash defines, we always prefer to write in a capital letter. So capital MIN underscore BAL, something like minimum balance. So wherever minimum balance is 1000 is readed, you simply write capital MIN underscore BAL, and at the beginning of the program, simply you write hash define space min underscore balance space and 1000. So once you pass this particular program to the preprocessor will see to it, okay, hash define is there, where the min balance is the symbolic constant. Wherever I find in the program, it must be replaced by 1000. So preprocessor job is to replace all the 100 places with the symbolic constant by its corresponding value. So that is the job of the preprocessor. So to have this kind of relation, the macro which we use is called hash define. So let me use this example. So in this example, hash include std avoid and all I'm not using, but simply I'm using an identifier which is x. Hash define space capital X space 4. Now in my main program, also I'm using one more hash define. Pi is nothing but the value. How much value of the pi? 3.1414, isn't it? Generally we use. So in the main program, we are defining the symbol pi, which must be the value of 3.14. So whenever you use a pi in the program, it will be replaced by 3.14 by the preprocessor. So avoid main float r is equal to 6.25. You are trying to calculate the area of a circle. So area is equal to, instead of writing 3.1414, I simply write pi star r into r, which is a pi r square. Then finally you are trying to print. So what preprocessor is trying to perform for the second the program? It will replace pi with a how much value? Tell me. Pi will be replaced by what value?
3.14.
Yeah, so here we are getting only at one place, so it has not much effect. By means, the pi is going to be useful in multiple places. So don't you think this method is very useful? Yes or no? In this particular example, pi is used at only one place. By any means, you are using very complex mathematical calculations where pi is coming at 100 times. So all the 100 times, pi will be replaced by 3.14. Is that clear? Say yes or no. At least respond yes or no. Simply keeping quiet does not make any
Yes,
sense.
sir.
Okay, fine. So now to create a macros with the hash define directive, the syntax for the macro is very simple. Hash define the macro expansion, then macro replacement list. So here one of the example again. Hash define directive can be used as follows. It can be used to define operators like and. So whenever you wanted to use, instead of double and, you can simply write hash define capital A and D and 2 times ampersand. Similarly, hash define OR and 2 times pipe. So I think logical AND operator, logical OR operator also can be replaced by its words. So it is easy to, whenever you wanted to compare two conditions, condition 1 A and D, condition 2, or else condition 1 OR, condition 2. So automatically preprocessor will replace this letters A and D by double AND symbol, OR by double pipe symbol. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Then it could be used even to replace a condition. So condition also you can replace. So whenever you are trying to use means hash define, already you are defining double ampersand by using A and A. Into the, there again you are giving an arrange. Arrange is a word which can be replaced by A greater than 25 and A less than 50. So whenever you are using in the second hash define A and A must be defined before it. If you write hash define A and D ampersand after the arrange, it won't work, because A and D will not be understood by the compiler. Is that clear? The order of sequence is important. Hash define in a one more hash define, I should say that way. Already you have defined 2 times ampersand or double and with the a and a, and in turn I'm using in second hash define, instead of double ampersand a and d are using. So whenever you're using arrange in your program, the arrange word will be replaced by the whole the bracket, whatever is written, a greater than 25 and a less than 50. It could be used to replace even an entire C statements. So one more complete C statement also you can hash define found space printf hello world. So these are 3 possibilities. I can use a number, I can use an operator, I can use a condition, I can use complete C statements. Is that clear? Hash define found printf hello world. So instead of writing printf hello world, simply you write found semicolon. That's it. In the program, after the main, within the opening and closing bracket, simply write found found semicolon. So found will be replaced by printf hello world, the entire C statement. So you are able to get it. So hash define can have multiple varieties of usage. Now function like macros. So we have seen object like macros so far what we discussed. Now function like macros. It looks like a function call and can be defined with hash define directive, but with a pair of braces or parentheses immediately after the macro name. So now, even though I think you can use a capital letter only, still even though it is given REA will be a small letter, there's nothing wrong if you use capital letters. Hash define area, just use the parenthesis in that XV you write. Now after that, right hand side simply you write 3.14 star R star R. So X will be replaced by 3.14 star R star R. That is the meaning of it. Or else other way I will, actually it should be 3.14 star X star X. That will be correct. There is a small printing mistake here. Whatever parameter you are passing within the parenthesis, that parameter must be available in the right side, the equation. Here X is written, but R star R, which is not right. Either it should be area of R, where 3.14 star R into star R, or else X will be given in the area, so it should be 3.14 star X star X. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there's a printing mistake in this one, so be careful while reading this particular slide. So here is an example. As I mentioned, whatever you write within the parenthesis, that must be appearing in the equation. So here you can see hash define minimum of a comma b. So it's entirely replaced by a ternary operator. So a less than b, a question mark, then a or b. So it simply says that whenever I'm using minimum between 10 and 20, I'm simply using min of 10 comma 20. So 10 comma 20 is, you can see that min of 10 comma 20 will be replaced by a less than b, question mark, a colon b. So can you tell me what is the output? 10 less than 20 false. False means next one, b is going to be printed. So 10 is less than 20, true actually, sorry. 10 less than 20 is true, then first a is going to be printed, which is 10. Is that correct? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So difference between, now you can also ask, so instead of using a macro, we can simply write a function also, something like min of a comma int b, where simply you can use condition if a is less than b, then return a, or else return b. That also we can use, no? Yes or no? I think somebody has written in the lab also. I just wanted them to find the minimum of the given array. They used most of them, in fact, not 1 or 2 students, at least 5 to 6 members have seen in the lab. They were writing a function definition called minimum and a function definition called maximum. So is it not similar to that? Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
Now the question is, you should have why to use a macro when already the functions are there. The difference is the program execution time. Whenever a function call is happening, my control will jump from one memory location to other memory location. Agreed or not? When function call is made, we need to jump from one memory location to other memory location. Accepted or not? Tell me. I told already. The function definitions or the function calling always will branch from one place to the other place. It takes a lot of time. Whereas macro is only a substitution. Substitution take faster than branching to some other place. So result will be same. but the execution time is very less for this particular macro definitions instead of the function definitions. So that is what it is given here, the difference between a macro and function. In a macro call, the preprocessor replaces the macro template with its macro expansion only. Whereas in the function call, the control is passed to a function along with certain arguments. Some calculations are performed in the function. A useful value is written back from the function. So all this to happen, it takes a lot of time. Substitution does not take much time, but at the same time, if more number of parameters are there, macro is not suggestible because size of the program might be increased, whereas function call will always writing a function will always reduce the size of the program. So either time or size you have to compromise. If more macros are used, size of the file is increased, execution time will be faster. If more functions are used, the size of the program will be less, but execution time is more. So you need to have a compromise between where exactly importance is needed. Now here and it is telling the same thing. If we use a macro 100 times in a program, the macro expansion goes into our source code at 100 different places, thus increasing the program size. On the other hand, if a function is used, then even if it is called from 100 different places in the program, it would take the same amount of space in the program, thus making the program smaller and compact. Is that point is clear? It's very important point, this one, the difference between a macro call and a function call. Everybody understood this particular statement? If any doubt, please ask. Respond. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, file inclusion, I think we have already seen. Used to include one file into another file, that is hash include, or it simply causes the entire contents of one file to be inserted into the source code of the another file. We use file inclusion from the following reasons. If we have a very large program, the code is best divided into several different files and each containing a set of related functions. These files are then included at the beginning of the main program file by using hash includes. So even though it is given here, there are some commonly needed functions and macro definitions that can be stored in a file, and that file can be included in every program we write, which would add all the statements in this file to our program as if we have typed in. The two ways to write the include statement is hash include file name if it is your file name. If it is from the library, you can use less than and greater than symbols, that is what for including the file. So within double quotes also you can use, and within the less than greater than also use. Generally user written files will be using double quotes, which is in a current directory. From the library you can use less than and greater than symbol, which is going out of the slide, but you can remember that. So hash include go to h. See, this is one of the header file written by the user. So it searches for a file named goto.h in the current directory containing the current file. Whereas hash include goto.h, which less than and greater than, it searches for a file named goto.h in a standard list of system directories. So generally, if you know it is a standard library, you can use less than and greater than. If it is user defined file, always prefer to use greater than double quotes for the file. Now coming to the third macro now. Undefining a macro. So what do you mean by undefining a macro? I'll tell you. It is something like in the beginning of the semester in the classroom, somebody is made a CR, class representative. Generally it happens or not, right from your school to your intermediate, then in engineering, yes or no? Respond. In your class, don't you think who is going to make the particular class representative? Maybe by a class teacher. Agreed or not? Respond.
Yes, sir.
By any means, the class representative is had some other work, or he may not be able to come to the college for some days. Don't you think we need to undefine a class representative? Again, we need to redefine a class representative. Are you able to follow what I'm trying to tell? In the class, somebody made a class representative. By any means, he may not be able to come to the college for a few days. So during his absence or her absence, don't you think there is a necessity of making somebody else as a class representative? Respond. You understood my the point or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it means initially you define something, later you feel that it is not needed, you can undefine it, you can redefine it. That's the meaning of it. So whenever you wanted to hash define, just now we did no hash define pi 3.1414. I can do hash undefined pi. So then pi no more, it will be 3.141 after that. That's the meaning of it. So here I'm trying to take one example. The hash undefined preprocessor directive is used to undefine the constant or macro defined by the hash define. It means unless a particular symbolic constant is defined, you cannot undefine it. So here in this particular example, hash include stdio.h, hash define pi 3.14, followed by hash undefined pi. Then you're trying to use pi in the program. Will it work? Tell me, it will work or not? It won't work. You can see the output. The compilation time error where pi is undeclared. Because pi might be defined, but after that again we undefined it. So pi is no more a class representative now. We have to redefine it. Is that clear? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
respond again. Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then preprocessor operators. I think even I have not used, but anyhow, you can, because I have not written the lengthy lines. This is the fourth one now. First one is hash define, next is hash include, third one is hash undefined, then undef. Okay, don't write undefined completely, it's an undefined, undef, that's it. Now this is fifth one, I guess. Preprocessor operators like backslash operator. We call it as a macro continuation operator. A macro is normally confined to a single line. By any means, if your line you wanted to write in two lines for the macro definition, then you can make use of the backslash operator to continue the line actually. So the macro continuation operator used to continue a macro that is too long for a single line. So you can see here, just we wanted to use a macro function message underscore for a comma b. So here you can see a printf hash a. Actually it is slightly different. Hash a is it is one more actually macro within double quotes, and again hash b. Again some text is there. Let us see how it is going to work. Ultimately, right from hash define till the printf statement, it is only one line, but you are writing in the two lines, so continuation operator is used. Okay, so this is called I think, in fact, I did not use this operator, but you can just go through it, because what exactly it means is it is like a macro function only. Wherever you write in place of m in the programming, like in the list directly, I'll try to show here. Hash define, say within the parenthesis m. So m is a macro parameter. So whatever you write inside the m, it will act as a string. So it will be replaced by printf. But whatever parameter you have written inside the say, which is m, must be preceded by hash. That is what I said. Here hash a is written, no? So hash m, it indicates that hello is a string or not. Respond. Hello is a string or not? Hello is a number or string? Tell me.
String.
Hello is a string or a number?
String.
String, right? But when I say string, don't you think it must be enclosed between double quotes? Every string must be enclosed between double quotes, no, in the C program. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
But did I mention double quotes here? No,
No,
right?
sir.
Yeah. So hello will automatically convert it to the string whenever I'm using the macro called string guys. Okay. That's the meaning of, you're trying to convert a number into a string. So in the printf, even though I have not used double quotes, automatically it will be taking as printf within the parenthesis double quotes hello. That's the meaning of it. So you can see the output is an hello. This is sixth one. I think seventh one, I'll just skip this one. This is not needed actually. This is seventh one, conditional compilation. This is also important. These allows us to include certain portions of the code depending upon the output of constant expression. What does it mean is, when you have written the even number or odd number, no, you wanted to check for a given input. How do you write the logic? Given number is even or odd. How do you get the logic for finding the given number is even or odd? Tell me.
Divide by 2.
By performing modulus operator, isn't it? The given number by 2, the modulus 2, and if it is 0, you can say it is even, else condition it will be odd. Is that right? Now my question is, total 4 lines will be there actually. Main, then some integer, some a is equal to 2, then if a is percentile 2 double equal to 0, printf even, else printf odd, and then return 0. That's it. So there are 5 lines are there. Do you think all the lines of the program executed all the time? All the lines of the programs are executed every time, or one of the line is going to be skipped? Respond. If printf even is printed, so printf odd is going to be skipped. Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
If printf odd is printed, then printf even is going to be skipped. Yes or no? Even though you have written 5 or 6 lines of the code, but during the execution of the file, all the lines will not get executed. Some of the lines are going to be skipped. The way during the runtime you are going to skip the some of the lines based on the condition, during the compilation also you have a provision, based on some value you can skip some of the lines for the compilation purpose. So during the compilation you want behavior something like if control structure. Same thing will work in the compilation stage by using this particular conditional compilation. So here we are trying to say, I'm trying to define some macro, hash if define macro. It means earlier hash define macro is there, you include the code. If that particular macro is not defined, don't include the code while doing the compilation purpose. That is a simple rule here. So very 3 lines of the example is given syntax. The hash if defined preprocessor directive checks if a macro is defined by the hash define. If it is yes, you just execute the code. Otherwise, else hash else is also there, which is not mentioned here. Hash else code is executed and if present. So in here only if condition, you have if else if also. So let me take maybe next. Yeah, in this example it is given hash define number is 10. Now I'm trying to use inside the main hash if defined number. So hash if defined number is defined or not before this? Respond. Number is defined, no, which is 10. So then you include hash define max 20 also. Then I'm trying to print max number is percentile d max, so 20 is going to be printed. You can also have one more case. Suppose I think if not defined, if I'm right. Okay, anyhow, this is okay. I'll see if not defined is there or not. Yeah, it is there. If not defined. If not defined, preprocessor directive checks something like, I will use the same code here. Hash if n defined means not defined. This meaning is maybe some min, capital min. Hash if capital small n, then def, which is a not defined, and followed by I'm using some maybe some minimum kind of thing. Okay, min. So what does it mean is hash if not defined min. So obviously in the beginning of the program, the min is not defined. So it is a true. In that case, max is going to be displayed. So other way, in this particular case, if num is defined, hash define is to be included. If you wanted to include hash define max, even though something is not defined, you can simply use if not defined. So that is what it is given. Hash if not defined preprocessor directive checks if macro is not defined by the hash define. If it is yes, it executes the code. Otherwise, hash else code is executed. So this is one of the example. I think it is given here. Did I define NUM at the beginning of the program? Respond. did I define NUM at the beginning of the program? Respond by looking at the program. Are you able to see
Sir.
anywhere hash define NUM?
No, sir.
No. So in this case, in the main program, what happened is if not define NUM, so it is true actually. If not define NUM is true, you include max, so the printf is going to perform the printing of the max value. Okay. If same statement, if I'm writing the above hash if define NUM is space 10, then max is not going to be printed. You'll get a compilation error where max is undeclared, something like that. Now the last one, which call it as a pragma, hash pragma. It is something like before you execute our main program, you want some function to be run by default. Similarly, once my program is terminated, you want some other function to be executed by default. So beginning of the program, end of the program, if you wanted to execute certain piece of the code, then hash pragma directive is used. So I'll give you an example. The hash pragma preprocessor directive is used to provide additional information to the compiler, where the hash pragma directive is used by the compiler to offer a machine or operating system feature. So let me use this particular example. Hash pragma, I'm using a startup is a name followed by some function called func func, then followed by again hash pragma exit. So func is the common, but the startup and exit must be the different names. So here my main program is very simple program. I'm just writing I am in main. Coming to the void func, you can see here I am in function. So what it indicates that the startup and exit will be different, but the function name you can write anything. But here beginning and ending I'm using same function. So you can see once you execute this program, did I call function anywhere inside the main? Under the main, did I call any function, func kind of thing? Respond. We did not call any function func, but you define hash pragma. Startup is a standard name followed by the function name. Hash pragma exits followed by a function name. So startup is nothing but before main program is going to be executed, func is going to be executed. That is the reason it is printed I am in func followed by main program. Once your program is terminated, exit function is nothing but again func it is written. So I am in again func it is written inside the same function. So it is written that way. So before the main and after the main, you wanted to execute some default programs. Always that time hash pragma will be used. So this is all. I'll just leave it to you. Error is not required. So these are all the preprocessor directives related to the C programming. And now we'll go to the command line arguments. With that, we'll wind up for today's class. This is a part 1 of today's class. Now part 2. Yeah, command line argument. Not this is the lecture notes. I'll just forward to you. I think I just made a reverse. Yeah. So the next is topic called command line arguments. Name itself indicating never means don't take the input from the keyboard. Instead of that, you can give inputs during the command line. I think in the Linux, whoever is executed programs in the lab, they might be knowing what is the meaning of a command line. Whatever you type, GCC space followed by function name .c, it is called command line execution. So at the time of command line, some of the students facing a problem for math.h inclusion. So I just told them to include an option. GCC space, then source file name space -lm. Remembered or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes,
sir.
So -lm is like one of the input to the command line argument. Your program name is GCC. First argument is your source file name. Second argument is -lm. That is called command line argument. The meaning of that one. For GCC, -lm will be the one of the input, and the source file is one of the input. So this is called command line inputs. So by using C program, you can also develop your own command line programs. So it indicates that in the main function so far, nothing is written between the parentheses. Now, for the main also, we are supposed to pass some functions. We have that provision. So whenever you have a provision of passing inputs to the main program, we can call it as the command line arguments. So you have, because we cannot call main from any other function. Other functions are called within the main. So if at all you wanted to pass any inputs to the main, only option left out with you is you need to give the inputs in the command line. So here I'm trying to explain how it is going to work. So far we have been defining the main function to receive the zero argument or no arguments. Actually, the main function can receive two arguments, not more than that, only two arguments. To do that, the main function should be defined as below. The syntax is something like that. This is how the arguments can be passed in the command line. So you can see int space main. For the first time, we are writing two names, int space argc. It's an argument count. The full form is, abbreviation for that is argc. Then vectors of arguments. So char star is a character pointer. Then argv is can you say, is it a array of pointers or pointers array? Which is right? Char star argv and opening and closing bracket. What it indicates? What type of declaration it is? Can anybody tell? Can I say it is array of pointers? Respond. Can I consider char star argv opening and closing bracket as array of character pointers? Respond.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it indicates that at every location of the argv is pointing to a string. Yes or no? String 1, string 2, string 3. So based on the number of commands you pass at the command line, the size of the argv will be taken by default from the input list. That is the reason size is not mentioned. I think we have seen, if you are trying to assign right hand side some numbers, the size of the array is optional. Correct or not? Yes or no? Anyhow, we'll try to do one or two examples using this. I think this is a Linux command. I think those who have done with a Linux, they know /a dot out. So here instead of a dot out, my program is a executable file name, and we are trying to pass two inputs, 5 and 23. So that is the meaning of no execution part. So from the command prompt, we can start running program by typing its name and pressing the enter symbol. To pass the arguments, we type in the program's name followed by the some arguments, then press enter. So below is an example from Unix command prompt or Linux. What some of you are using in the lab. Instead of dollar, it is written %, but it's a dollar symbol. You assume that / a dot out. Instead of a dot out, we have a my program space the first argument space second argument. And then what is argc and argv? So when the program is called from the command line with arguments, the argc will always contain the number of arguments you have passed, which includes your file name also, one of the argument. When the user types in the arguments, the user separates each argument with a space. I think you have seen in the previous example, myprog space 5 space 23. So every argument is, can you tell me total how many parameters here now? Argument count is how much now? / myprog space 5 space 23. How many arguments are there? Respond. Is it 2 or 3?
3, sir.
3, because myprog is also one of the argument. Program name itself is one of the argument. So argc will be defined with a 3 by default. It all depends on the how many arguments you pass. So when the user types in argument, the user separates each argument with a space. So argv is an array of character strings. Argv of 1 is a character string containing the first argument, because argv of 0 is your program name itself. Argv of 1 will be the first argument which you pass. Argv of 2 will be the second one. So whereas argv of 0 contains the string pointing to your executable file. That is what it is given. So this is example simply to verify that what is argc is having and what is argv is having. So you can see int I for performing number of arguments iteration purpose. So for loop I is equal to 1, I less than argc. Just now you mentioned if I'm dot slash my program space 5 space 23, so total it will be 3. So 3 means 1 2 0 I'm not interested, only 5 and 23 I want to print. So in that case I equal to 0 is removed, so that I don't want to display the name of the program. So 1 is deleted and 2 is there, and argc will be total 3. So for loop will be executed how many times? Can anybody tell? For the above program, this for loop is executed how many times? Respond. How many times the for loop is executed? For the input dot slash myprog space 5 space 23. What is argc now? Count 3, isn't it? So argc is 3, I is equal to 1, I is equal to 2. 2 times it will get executed. So argv of 1 will be, it will print 5. Argv of 2, it will print 23. Is that clear? Anyhow, I'll try to take that example. With that, we'll wind up today's class. Just a minute. Only for the command and arguments, I have written one simple program. In fact, same program what you have seen in the PPT. Yeah, I think same program but slightly different. Yeah. What I will do is, yeah, a slightly different program. You are trying to pass int argc comma character argv, and I'm trying to verify if argc is equal to 2. It means I should pass only one argument, because including file name, only one argument I can pass. If I pass only one argument, it will print the argument supplied is whatever you give there. Else condition, too many arguments are supplied and one argument is expected, at least if you don't give anything. That's the meaning of it. If it is less than one kind of thing, okay? So in the dev C++ to execute this particular program, you need to know some extra thing. You go to the execute, you see the parameters. You're able to see here. Is it visible to all of you? Just respond. Is it visible or not? Execute. You have a parameter. Then nothing is there. Simply I'm writing 1. How many parameters I passed? Only 1 I have passed. So simply say okay. Then you execute. Compile and run. What is the output you are expecting? The argument supplied is how many? Only 1, isn't it? Is that you are able to see the output? The argument is supplied is 1. Why it is true? Can anybody tell? Because your program name is one argument, the one which we have passed the second argument. So argc will be 2. So 2 double equal to 2 is true. Now you are able to see this print. The argument supplied is, and every input what you are passing is a string only. That is the reason percentile is used here. The one, even though I typed 1 as a number, for the program it is a string. By any means you wanted to perform, I'll give an example. I'll modify the same program. Control A, new one. Control V. Let me remove this line. I wanted to perform addition of 2 numbers. Okay. So to perform addition of 2 numbers, what I'll do is int c is equal to whatever input you are giving, argv of 1 plus argv of 2 semicolon printf. The sum is percentile d backslash n, then c, then return 0. Will it work or not? You tell me. First, let me save this. Command line test2.c. Now let me put execute command parameters. I'm trying to put 1 space 2. Can you tell me what is the output now? Ask me, if I compile this program, what will be the output? I hope everybody is available in the class, right? Nobody has left. Respond. Varshika, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you tell me what is the output of this program now? If I'm entering in execute the parameter list 1 space 2, what will be the output here? Sum is actually.
Sir, I think it's 3.
So as per your it should be 3. Why? Because argv of 1 will be the 1 and argv of 2 will be the 2. So 1 plus 2 it becomes 3. Let me check. It will be 3 or not. It should give an error. The reason, can you tell me why it will give an error? Anyway, I'll try to show it will give an error. So what is the error it is giving? Read out the error what it is showing here. Invalid operands to the binary plus. For which type? Char star, isn't it? Char star is what? Is it not a string? Can you perform addition of 2 strings?
No, sir.
So that is the reason whenever you want to perform the command line arguments, the mathematical calculations, there is a function called ASCII to integer, A to I, the name is. We should use every argument as A to I. Again, I think, yeah, this is correct. A to I of argv of 1. Again, A to I of, now we are converting a string of 1 to a number of, but only thing is A to I function, to use it, it needs some header file. I don't remember what header file is needed. Let me execute later, we'll see. If it is going to work, it is fine. So earlier it was giving an error that invalid operands to the binary plus you cannot perform to the strings. So I just converted my strings 1 to a number 1. Similarly, a string 2 to a number 2 by using a function called ASCII to integer. A to I stands for. Let me execute and run. Now you're able to see sum is 3 as you expected. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Did I use any scanf function to read the input from the keyboard?
No, sir.
Did I use any assignment to the any variable?
No, sir.
So I think we have saved some memory, no? Declaration also we have not done. Scanf function also we have not done. Is it not my program size is reduced for performing addition of 2 numbers?
Yes, sir.
So that is an advantage of command line arguments. And I'll tell you one more thing. So this particular program, what I have done is available in this particular place under the college. There is an online classes under that PPS, under that some folder. I'll go to that place directly. In this, yeah. So I think you can see C file, then followed by application. You can see both. Yes or no? Sorry, C test 2. This one, right? So CL test 2 is a program just now which I have written. After the compilation, I got an exe file CL test 2 here. I will copy this particular file, CL test 2 application. I'm copying, not source file. Try to remember. I'll go to the C drive. I'll simply paste here. Continue. Yeah, I got CL test 2 under the C drive. Agreed or not? Everybody able to see it? Respond.
Yes, sir.
Now I'll do one thing. I'll just go to the what is that? Command. CMD stands for command line. Okay, command prompt. Now here, where my cursor is blinking now, under the C drive, under the users, under the sham, right? So let me go back like your Linux only. It is similar to CD space. Now we are in C drive. Is that clear? Now what is my name of executable file? CL test 2, isn't it? So this is a command line. I'll just give 5. I'll give 10. Can you tell me what is the result? What is the result? If I enter, respond. Sum will be 15, no? You can say sum is 15. So I did not use dev C++. Simply I have copied my executable file. You can also take this executable from your pen drive, you take to your computer, you go to the command window and you can execute. There is an advantage. Command line arguments always give an advantage that we can give inputs in the command line only. So this is called command line arguments. See, I have other one, CL test. Earlier we have used, no, there is a number of arguments. One argument is expected at least because I have not passed anything. CL test maybe 1. So the argument supplied is 1. If I am taking too many arguments. So this is the first program which we have seen, which already I have copied in the C drive. That is the reason it is working. Otherwise, it won't work. The C drive, there will be 2 applications. Here is a CL test. This is a CL test 2. Simply command prompt. You can go here. You type the program name. There is no dot slash is needed here. So directly name of the file space the argument what we can pass. So I hope you understood command line arguments now. Is it clear to all of you? So with this, I'll stop my class for today's lecture.